Hey guys, welcome back. This is Inside Fitness Radio presents Total Fitness Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
I'm Walter.
And today we have a very special guest. As you can see, this is Weam Breiche.
Hello guys, how's it going?
All right, so just give a bit of background. I'll obviously let you talk about yourself. But the reason you have been blowing up lately and the reason why we wanted to bring you on here is because of something called the Carnivore Diet. Now, for those listening, we're going to get into that a little bit later. And the man himself, the Wolverine, as he's called on social media, will kind of give us some insight into what the Carnivore Diet is, why he's doing it, why the popularity might have spiked with it, and we'll just go from there. So why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself, man, and then we'll get into some of those questions.
All right, so my name is Weam Breiche. I'm an aspiring professional bodybuilder. I'm not professional yet, but this is my aim. I've been into fitness since I was like 18, 19 years old. I've hit a lot of roadblocks on the way, and I've tried almost any diet you can name. I've been on paleo, keto, Mediterranean, which is like where I was born. I've tried vegan almost 3 years, a little less than 3 years, and now I'm a carnivore.
Yeah.
I kind of, me having no background in nutrition and just reading books here and there, if you listen to somebody give an argument about a certain diet, as a regular normal human being, you're not prone to actually interact with it or give your opinion on it. So like they use very complicated terms. There's a lot of complex material in it. So if you don't have background, actually, even if you do, a lot of people have nutrition background and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Sorry about that, but yeah, that's the truth.
We know a few people like that.
so like me being that person who's just like average in nutrition, my best approach was to actually try each diet and see for myself if it's actually good or not. Like if you go listen to vegan doctors, and there's a lot of them lately, like you're like, man, this is impressive. Like they actually know what they're talking about. Then you actually go vegan, bro, and there's a whole list of athletes who went vegan and then abandoned it because of like bone fractures, because of like weakened energy, weakened immunity, all this kind of stuff. So, I just had to try everything. And since I've had a lot of digestion issues, I've had a lot of like mental health issues. So I was always trying to find the best diet, because I totally believe that everything starts with the food we eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
All kinds of health issues start with the food we eat. And I've seen a couple of doctors that have been able to prove that. And, the whole point is just try to reach my goal with the least pain and damage possible.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like the reason we came across your page was because you're blowing up on TikTok. You're getting really popular on Instagram. Now, I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this know about a guy named Liver King, and you have been doing this way before he has. And I'll kind of give a little insight into the carnivore diet, but I want you to break it down, kind of go over what it means to you, because I know there's different levels of it as well. But the carnivore diet is basically an all meat diet, all mostly red meat diet, correct?
It doesn't have to be red meat, but let me just do one thing. Like I haven't been doing this way before Liver King. Liver King probably has been primal living carnivore for a long time. But every time during one of my interviews, people ask me like, "Oh, are you doing this because of Liver King?" Like, no, sir, I haven't not doing this because of Liver King. Liver King started going public about this last August. He created his pages last August 2021. I went carnivore a year before that. I did this because I don't want to, with all due respect to him, I have nothing against him. Like he's a beast, but I don't want to give credit to somebody where somebody else is worth taking the credit. I'm doing this because of people like Dr. Sean Baker, like Dr. Paul Saladino, like Dr. Anthony Chafee. This is why I'm doing this, because Liver King, and he's very smart with marketing. He's more into the show aspect.
Yeah.
And even though I'm doing the same thing as like to show, because apparently doctors aren't very good at marketing. But you know, I'm the kind of person where I need more solid proof.
Yeah.
So I owe my carnivore journey to mostly Paul Saladino, Sean Baker, Anthony Chafee, stuff, people like
Fair
that.
enough. So with your carnivore journey, where did it start? You mentioned you had digestion issues. You tried all these diets. So what was the turning point for you? And did you start off as intense as you are now? You're eating like raw brain. You're eating, you're eating raw meats. Was it that intense when you started, or what was kind of the process when you first started the carnivore diet?
Okay. That's a very good question. So once I started carnivore, no, I was not eating all raw meat. I kind of, it's not that I eased myself into it, because you don't need to ease yourself into it. Like, we have very strong stomach acids, and if you want to switch to carnivore, you can do it tomorrow, and you will as long as your digestive system is healthy, you won't have problems. Mm-hmm. But the way I got into it, so I'm Lebanese. I was born and raised in Lebanon, and we have a lot of raw meat dishes in our diets, like, like as appetizers. So I've tried raw meat before. I've had it several times, actually multiple times. And the first time I tried it, I was either 10 or 12 years old, and I fell in love with it. Like raw meat really is delicious. So anyone who hasn't tried it, it really, really tastes good. Like, there's several plates. When I turned carnivore a little less than 2 years ago, probably like a year and 3/4 or something like that. When I first turned carnivore, it was because I went to a doctor. I have a major health issues. I dislocated my jaw as a little child, and the doctor thought that it's not worth putting back. And down the line, it escalated into like bigger problems with anxiety, with depression, because my posture has always been wrong. Mm-hmm. But so I was at a doctor. I was getting X-rays to try to fix that. So when the X-rays came out and they were very dark, the doctor says like, oh, like this is a very strong sign of inflammation. Like, what is your diet like? I was like, I don't want to say I'm vegan, but I'm like 95% plant-based. I do have a little bit of dairy here and there, but mostly I wake up, I have like a 2,000 calorie plant-based smoothie in the morning, pea protein, rice protein, like, and for any vegan who's even daring to say like, oh, I didn't know how to do it, bro, I was one of the most resourced and researched vegans out there. Like I would eat like nutritional yeast, spirulina, hemp seeds, chia seeds, like everything, like all kinds of vitamins. Like, I was trying really hard, but I was very inflamed, and I was like, and the doctor was like, you know what, like, this is not very healthy for you. Like, I can see inflammation down your spine. I can see inflammation in your digestive system. I think you should look into a carnivore diet. I was like, what do you mean? Like, isn't cholesterol bad for us? Yeah. He's like, I mean, this is a very dumb argument. Why don't you go look into it? Like, I'm not gonna have time to explain it to you, but hey, go look into it. So I went home. He dropped a couple of names. He's like, go look into Sean Baker, go look into Paul Saladino, and let me know what you think. I went home, looked them up, listened to a couple of episodes from each one of them. I was like, okay, well, like these guys, I've never seen a vegan doctor that looks as good as Sean Baker. He's 54, bro. The guy's a fucking animal.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let me go buy the books. Same day. Ordered the books, started reading. Makes sense. I was like, okay, let's give it a try. I mean, I gave vegan a try for 3 years. When I was back in 2014, I had surgery for anal fissures. If you don't know what an anal fissure is, so every human on earth has hemorrhoids. A hemorrhoid is part of the structure of your large intestines. So it's like, like muscle tissues, and then there's like jelly material on top of it that facilitates your feces going out and stuff like that. So hemorrhoids is not the disease. Hemorrhoidal disease is when there is inflammation in those tissues, and then they start breaking, and then there's blood coming out of them. Yeah. And then with time, hemorrhoidal disease can progress into other like stronger diseases, and one of the results is a fissure. A fissure is like where part of your large intestine goes out of your anus.
Right.
That's pretty graphic, but that's what it is. And then when you get to that point, you're going to need surgery because every time you go use the restroom, like you bleed, like you bleed a lot. And then you can't sit down, you can't exercise. Yeah, I had to quit the gym. So I got the surgery back in 2014. And I was on a Mediterranean diet. And then my condition didn't get better, but it was kind of stable after the surgery, but it wasn't better. Like I was still having blood in my stool. And then when I switched to I came to the US in 2016. I had my only competition ever. It was a disaster. I didn't know what I was doing, but I got into a little depression phase after it, and I started eating a lot of junk food for like a couple of months, and my condition got worse. I was like, you know what, this must be the meat. So I turned vegan right after I moved to the US, like before even 2017. Like before we hit 2017, I turned vegan. Right. And there's this placebo. Is like when you think that you're feeling better, but you're not actually feeling better. That's what happened. But still, my digestion didn't get any better. I would need a lot of times I would need cigarettes in the morning. I would need cigarettes and coffee just to be able to use the restroom. Because you know what? Like they tell you, if you're having constipation, you got to eat fiber. Like, bro, and apparently, and I don't have a strong argument on it because again, I'm not a doctor, but apparently fiber is very addictive. The more you eat fiber, the more you need fiber to move in your feces, because basically you can't digest it. We don't have any enzymes to break it down. You can't ferment it. So it's just sitting there. And now fast forward to when I switched to carnivore, all of this just disappeared. Like, I'm never constipated. I don't have diarrhea because diarrhea is a medical condition. Even if you have loose stool on carnivore, sometimes this is not diarrhea. It's just that your protein to fat ratios are a little off. But I don't have loose stools. I don't have diarrhea. I don't have blood in my stool. I have no problem using the restroom. Even if I don't use it every day, it's not a problem because you don't have waste. You're literally, all you're eating is meat, and you digest most of that meat. So your waste is minimal. I don't want to say mentally I'm 100% good because that's a lie, and I'm not here to like trick people or lie to people. So I mean, I've struggled with mental illness ever since I was a little child, but I feel much better mentally just because I'm not eating sugar all day. Yeah, like my main source of nutrition is not sugar, so I'm not on this like energy roller coaster all day long, spiking of insulin going down. Basically, it's working very well for me.
That's amazing, man. I think Walter had a question.
I'm just curious because having gone through something similar, I was told right away, no raspberries, no chia seeds, none of this, none of that, nothing that can get into the fissures of the intestinal tract to then cause more of the issue to happen. So I'm curious that you went from having the issue to the vegan, and if you were doing all the seeds and everything at first, did that not amplify the problem?
That did. Well, it was after my surgery, so it wasn't like when you get surgery, it's not gonna go back to as strong as it was before it, because I learned a trick or two. Like first, before surgery, I would push, like I would literally like put in effort just because like, bro, I need to go to work, I need to do something. So you know what, like let's get this over with. After that, I wouldn't like if it's not going, like, you know what,
whatever,
or whatever, or like leave it, or maybe use laxatives.
Yeah,
but it did get worse than it was straight after the surgery. Like it wasn't like my vegan diet wasn't making my digestion any better. It was actually making it worse. Especially that I was having a shit ton of chia seeds, man. I was having like 3-4 tablespoons a day, just because, you know, like you want the proteins and you want the omega-6 fatty acids, which arguably are not as essential as we think they are. But
yeah, it's incredible to hear you talk about this, because we have actually a mutual friend who was a carnivore diet advocate as well. And the first time we did hear about this diet, we were shocked that, you know, basically, as you said, you went from switching into the carnivore diet and almost like the snap of a finger, you basically got rid of those problems. Like, how long did it actually take for your digestion issues to get to a point where it's like, wow, I almost feel like a normal person again?
Instantly. The minute you drop fiber out of your diet, most of your digestion problems disappear.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that we have a whole medical field, like you got doctors, you got research, universities, all of that, all advocating that you need fiber. Like anytime you talk to a doctor, it's like, oh, I'm a carnivore. Or you talk to like a PhD in nutrition, I'm telling them I'm a carnivore. It's like, nah, you need fiber. Like, bro, like what is wrong with the medical? Like what is wrong with it? Like, how can there be such a division in opinions? Obviously, you're either trying to scam people, or those 5 years you went to college are just worthless.
I mean, let's face it, a lot of people just don't like change, right? And they see
Yeah.
something new and it's like, well, wait, I was taught this. I paid a lot of money to be taught this.
Yeah.
So how is this possible?
Because it's
You know?
it's crazy.
It's like the food triangle.
We're all resistant to change. Everybody, in our own ways, we're all resistant to change. God knows, if I wasn't very desperate to solve my digestion issues, and if I wasn't very desperate to bulk, which was one of the hardest tasks for me, eating a regular diet, like I would almost puke my guts out eating lean chicken and freaking broccoli and like those disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, how can you survive on this diet?
When we
like,
were,
if I wasn't desperate to actually find a way, maybe I wouldn't have switched to carnivore. You know, because people are like, this is crazy. So, but it just blows my mind how many doctors advocate for things like, oh, you need to lower your cholesterol. Like, bro, in the past 100 years, we have, if we pull up the data, like, how many people die of a heart attack every year? How many people die of, you have only in the US, you have 28,000 people dying of diabetes every year. Type 2 diabetes. It is very well known since the 50s and the 40s that you can reverse type 2 diabetes by switching to a fat diet. Okay, well, if this is such a prominent issue, and everybody knows that a high carbohydrate diet causes insulin resistance, and then it leads to diabetes, and then you can reverse it, literally get off your medication totally just by moving into a low carb, high fat diet, then why isn't anybody talking about this? Well, I mean, the answer is obvious. They make a shit ton of money out of you. It's all monetary.
It's all money, man.
All monetary, but
it's all money.
But like, so you want to tell me that 90% of the doctors are bought out, or a part of them are stupid, or like, what's going on?
What we've noticed, because again, just being in the industry for so long, there is so much misleading information. There's so much BS out there. What we have found is just people do not want to listen. As we said, we're resistant to change. I mean, we may know something is better for us, but as you said yourself, you were desperate, right? So how do we change that mindset of being, well, I don't need to do this diet because I really like cookies, so I don't want to go onto this diet. But that's kind of the mindset shift that we need to have. And I mean, you talk about it very passionately. You have gone into some good rants. I mean, I've watched some of your YouTube videos where you're talking about why the high carb diet is not the way things should be done, especially for bodybuilders too. I mean, but when both Walter and I were prepping for shows, I mean, 6,000 calories a day, most of that's coming from carbohydrates, right? So why don't you go into a little bit about what your opinion of a high carb diet versus the good and the bad of a carnivore diet, and you know, what has been the good for you, what has been the bad for you in terms of the carnivore diet?
Okay, so let me put it this way. The reason, there's many reasons why, not many, but there's several reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I chose to do it, via social media, via eating brains. You know, like, you don't actually need to eat a brain a day. Like, you don't need it. It's very nutritious. It's very healthy. You know, like a single serving of brain with like 100 grams has like 3,000 milligrams of cholesterol, like 700 milligrams of DHEA, which is like the most important omega-3 amino acid. You know, like, it's very nutritious, but you don't need it to survive. I know a lot of carnivores eating just steaks and they're doing fine. Eating the brain is part of a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
If I'm being very honest with you, because you're not gonna blow up eating a freaking cooked steak. Nobody gives a shit about that.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
Well, I think the testicles were the ones that did the most.
So when people were like, "Oh, you want this to blow up?" Like, yeah, bro, of course I want this to blow up. Well, I know, but why do I want to blow up? We lost 14 bodybuilders last year.
Add one today.
Add one today.
Add one today?
Oh, you didn't hear, eh? Cedric McMillan passed away.
Who?
Cedric McMillan passed away.
There you go, 15.
15.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry he'd be passed, but see, okay, well, we tend to ignore this because whenever you talk about bodybuilders, we're like, oh, they're on PEDs. Like, okay, I agree. They're on PEDs. By the way, I don't hide my use either. Although I could pass for natural anytime, but I don't care about what people think. Okay, I'll agree with that. But here's an argument. What if PEDs are not the main reason we're losing so many bodybuilders? What if the diet is the main problem and PEDs are just accelerating it?
I'm very glad you said that and brought that up, because Walter and I have discussed that on this podcast before, where a lot of these deaths are not necessarily, yes, there is PED abuse.
There's more diuretic abuse, I think.
And the real issue comes from the amount of food these guys, unnatural amounts of food that aren't being digested well, that they're putting into their system. I mean, when these guys are in their off season, they're 300 plus pounds, pounding like, 7 to 9,000 calories. So I'm really happy you did bring that up. Yeah.
So Matthew, listen, so there's a lot of arguments that are being ignored, but still they're valid arguments. One of the people that I listen to, and he's not a doctor, he has nothing to do with the medical field, but this guy is a freaking genius if you listen to him. His name is Tucker Goodrich. He's been on the Paul Saladino podcast a couple of times and other podcasts. Tucker Goodrich is one of the people that I aspire to be like one day, because he has no background in the medical field, but the way he argues, the way he presents his arguments is like genius. And he talks about linoleic acid, and he talks about carbohydrates and the effect on atherosclerosis and heart disease. And I tried to relate that to what happens in the bodybuilding industry. So, if we can agree for 1 second that most of the health issues that come in humans are from our diets, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay. Then can we agree that bodybuilders are twice or 3 times as much prone to catch these diseases just because we naturally eat more than twice or 3 times than a normal human being? Like right now, I'm only weighing less than 230 pounds. I'm not even close to being a professional bodybuilder, and I'm still stomaching like 5,000 calories a day.
Yep, absolutely.
So if our diet is the reason why we're getting sick, doesn't that mean if you're an athlete, you have at least twice the chances of getting sick? Okay, well, keep that in mind, and then go look at the diets that are very mainstream in the bodybuilding industry. If you're bulking, they tell you, well, you should eat a lot of carbohydrates because it bulks, which is total bullshit. But we can, because you can't bulk with fats and proteins. God forbid you eat fat and protein. You can't bulk. You're gonna lose a lot of weight. Well, okay. Well, why do you think you're gaining a lot of weight when you're on carbohydrates? Isn't it because you're just like marbling yourself? You're building intramuscular fat, and you're just like stuffing your glycogen stores and putting on all this water weight. Like I can go on a high carb like spree right now for a week. I'll put on like 15 pounds. Easy. I promise you I can put on like 15 pounds.
Yep.
But then when you go to the cutting phase, you're going to get rid of all of that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to deplete your glycogen stores. You're going to get rid of that intramuscular fat. So it's like you're doing this for absolute nothing. Then the pure muscle is going to stay the pure muscle, whatever you eat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But if you're bulking, if you're in your bulking stage and you're eating seed oils because you don't know that seed oils are bad for you. You're cooking with canola, or you're cooking with, I don't know, these like rancid oxidized sprays bullshit. And then on top of that, you're eating like I've seen bodybuilders eat like 800, 900 grams of carbohydrates a day.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? First of all, you want to tell me that you can eat 900 grams of carbohydrates per day every 1 hour, spiking your insulin level, and you're not going to have insulin resistance? You're not going to develop insulin resistance. Well, okay, well, insulin resistance is going to translate into heart disease later on, because insulin resistance is precursor for diabetes. Diabetes is precursor for heart disease. And then add to it the catalyst, which is not the main reason. Add to it, PEDs is the catalyst. It's not the main reason you're getting sick. It just accelerates it. And then you have these deaths. So I was thinking like, okay, well, what if I try to prove to people that I put myself as a test, I go online, well, but you need a lot of people to see. So you have to add an edge to it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe raw brains, because everybody's scared of raw brains for some reason. Everybody's scared of 1,000 cases of prions in the USA per year, which is 0.002% of the population. But nobody's scared of 28,000 deaths of type 2 diabetes. 1,000 versus 28,000, that's not a problem for them. And man, let alone the kids, it's disastrous. But so I was like, okay, well, if I can prove to people that I can bulk on fats and I can eat more than 10,000 milligrams, 15,000 milligrams of cholesterol a day, I can eat, like my diet right now is like 330 grams of fats, most of which is saturated fat. Awesome. Most of which is saturated fat. If I can prove to people that I can do it, I can bulk, I can feel but although they think that I'm not lean enough, which is I'm not, I'm like around like 12%, but still. But if I can do it without eating carbohydrates and without dying, because you're going to see me in 10 years, probably still healthy, hopefully. And
knock on wood.
I mean, yeah, you never know what happens. Maybe I'll get one over or something. But still, like if I can do it, if I can do that without having to eat carbohydrates, maybe I'll change their minds a little. Because I'm not gonna get sponsored. Like let's be honest. I'm not gonna be a sponsored athlete. Nobody wants to sponsor me, and I don't want to work with them. Like I don't want to name any like nutrition company out there, but I don't want to work with either of them, and vice versa. They don't want to work with me either. I don't believe that you need supplements. I don't believe that you need like all these companies like, oh, digestive fiber. What the fuck is digestive fiber, bro? What are you selling people?
Yeah.
Like brushed wood. What are you selling people, man? So you don't need that. That makes you sick. You don't need that. And every brand that is very big in the fitness industry sells this. You don't need creatine. No, I promise you, you don't need creatine. If you eat a fat steak after your workout, you're getting enough creatine for you to function normally.
Yeah.
You don't need to go by. But if you want to take monohydrate, go ahead and take it. Protein, isolate, denatured, hydrolyzed. You don't even need that either. The material and the ingredients that we're getting in the supplements are the lowest of the low. They're like the absolute trash of any person can ingest. And everybody's promoting them. Everybody's about just making a paycheck. So, like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to find another way of making a paycheck.
Fair enough.
without having to sell this bullshit.
Yeah, fair enough, man. That ad revenue on YouTube, right?
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that brings up a question that comes to my mind though too. I mean, the problem with carbs as well is that they are cheap food for the masses, right? So how much more expensive is your food bill compared to a guy who's bulking up on rice and potatoes and doing the normal diet, do you think?
Okay, well, I can't speak for myself. That's a very good question, but I can't speak for myself because my diet is very expensive. Like I eat grass-fed, I eat grass-finished, I eat pasture-raised, I eat raw, which has to be like the best of the best because I don't want to risk myself getting sick. Not because I think I'm gonna die, but if you catch a bacteria or if you catch something, you're gonna get sick for at least a week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose those 15 pounds in a week just getting sick. I don't think I'm gonna die. I don't think you eating bad meat is gonna get you dead. It's not gonna happen. Like I have a healthy digestive system, but still I don't want to risk getting sick for like 3-4 days because this is lack of progress,
Yep.
But you can survive off of cooked organs, which are way cheaper than buying steaks, and cooked ground beef. So when you tell me that, oh, you know, like this is a very expensive diet, like, no, bro, like this, it doesn't have to be very expensive.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be it's not gonna be as cheap as eating the trashiest chicken and rice. But hey, bro, if you want it, you know, like maybe you should try going out less during the weekend, or buying less supplements, or, you know, like when there's a will, there's a way. Because a pound of ground beef, 70% lean, which you want fat in your diet.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, I see a lot of people asking me like, oh, you know what? I went carnivore and I felt very sluggish and I didn't have enough energy. Well, yeah, man. Do you know how do you get protein? How you get energy out of protein? Gluconeogenesis. Like, this is the most inefficient way to get your energy. So when you're carnivore, your main source of energy should be your fats.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're eating lean steaks and lean chicken and lean turkey all day, of course you're not gonna be good on energy. Like, it doesn't make sense. But if you get that 70% ground beef, which is like, I don't know, what is it, like $3 per pound?
Well, we're in Canada, so
yeah,
our prices are way up.
You know, like, you can always buy organic, but you don't have to buy organic.
Exactly.
Because when you buy groceries that are not organic, they have a lot of pesticides in them. Like, they're harmful for you. But when you buy red meat that is not organic, it's not harmful for you. It's not optimal, but it's not harmful for you.
Yeah.
Because cows are ruminant animals. If you feed them bad food, they can transform it into good fats.
Yeah. I think people forget that there hasn't been much information about that specifically as well, right? But I'm glad you brought that up as well. But yeah, sorry, continue.
So if you want to be on a carnivore diet and you're on a budget, you can eat like a pound of ground beef is like $3. You can get a pound of ground beef for like $3. You can go to some like secondhand food, not secondhand. I don't want to, I'm trying not to be racist here. You know what? I don't give a shit. But, you know, like, if you go to a Middle Eastern store or a Mexican store or whatever it is, like, not white people stores here, you're going to find cheaper foods.
That's not racist, man.
It's funny because, you know, when I think of it, my dad was raised in
you're in 2022. You're in 2022. You got to watch what you although
Absolutely. But I mean, when I was a kid, I was raised on heart and tongue and liver and kidney and all that sort of stuff because my dad was trying to save money.
Well, your dad was,
you know, it wasn't
very strong. You're making a very like smart decision. It's more nutritious and it's cheaper. A pound of kidney here is like $3.
Yeah.
A pound of heart, if you're not gonna get it from where I buy it from, because I buy it like from the best sources, because I want to eat it raw. But if you want to eat it cooked, like make it into a soup, you can do that.
Yeah. You
can actually do that. Oh, they all range between $3 to $5 per pound. So. And then it's not very hard to get grass-fed butter and grass-fed ghee. That's not very expensive, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One question that I had, kind of the last question I personally had for you for this podcast was, do you miss sugar at all? Like, anytime, are you craving cookies? Is there any time you're walking past the bakery and you're like, man, I kind of wish I had that? Are you totally content and complacent with the way that you're eating? You're satisfied with it and it's good?
Absolutely beautiful question. I crave sugar all the time. I'm trying to do something right now to work on that. Is I cut carbs out of my diet 100%.
Right.
I was eating some honey here and there, and I realized the more you eat honey, the more you crave sugar.
Yep.
Sugar is very addictive, and very few people know how addictive sugar is. Like, it's more addictive physiologically than cocaine.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to do right now is like cut it 100% out of my diet and turn all those calories that I was getting from carbohydrates 100% into fats. So I wouldn't be craving anything, but I do crave it. And one of my weak points is wheat. So like homemade sweets, like bread, like I absolutely love them. I do have them very rarely, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not like 100% strict. If I feel like, oh, I like it's been on my mind for a week, I just go have it, man.
Yeah.
But don't have it every day.
Yeah.
And one thing is very important to mention is that I don't have dedicated cheat days during the day. I just don't feel like having a cheat day is productive.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Like if you're on a diet, you just gotta be on this diet. Like you have to, first of all, you have to believe that this is the best for you. Then you have to be on it all the time. But maybe like once a month, once every 2 weeks, whatever it is. Like if you crave something so bad, just go freaking have it, man. It's not gonna be the end of the world. You're still 99% dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't lose grip of that and start like having it every other day.
Yes. Yeah.
Every other day doesn't work for anything.
No, sir, it does not.
What would be the point?
Did you have another question there, Walter?
No, I mean, I think the chia seeds was something that particularly interested me because I've dealt with diverticulitis. I've had surgeries, not quite as bad as yours, but I've had those. So that was an interesting part of the topic for me. Because, I have doctors going, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, but take the psyllium fiber every day, which.
But you know, like when you have diverticulitis, like the first thing they should recommend is you getting off fibers. Mm-hmm. So why would they give you a fiber medicine?
Well, that was.
I think because the doctor was making money selling it.
Yeah.
See,
it's always about that.
You can't trust a drug dealer, man. You can't trust a drug dealer. And literally, doctors are drug dealers. I really hope as many doctors listen to this and see this. They're drug dealers, bro. You just can't trust them.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. I like that. Yeah. But again, man, thank you so much. We didn't want to take up too much of your time today, but we would love to have you back on if you want to come and talk even more in depth, because there's so many more things that we did want to cover with you in terms of the fitness industry, the misleading information that's out there and all that fun stuff. So again, thank you, man, so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. I would love to come on anytime you guys want.
Awesome, guys. All right.
Excellent.
There you go, guys. That is another episode done and dusted. Stay safe.
Stay breezy.
Take care, guys.